10. The Decad. Archetype: divine order, completeness, totality, foundation, law, perfection, the cosmos, return to unity. Qualities: authoritative, organized, complete, systemic. Biblical resonance: the 10 Commandments, Exodus 20. The 10 Plagues of Egypt. The tithe, 10th part. A symbol of divine organization and testing before completion. Understanding these foundational archetypes will provide a rich backdrop for our analysis of numbers throughout the Bible and Torah, allowing us to see how these ancient universal principles are woven into the very fabric of divine revelation. 2.3 Applying Pythagorean Archetypes to Biblical Concepts. While it's important not to directly equate Pythagorean philosophy with biblical theology, recognizing these universal numerical archetypes enriches our appreciation of God's design. The Bible doesn't explicitly teach Pythagorean numerology, yet the consistent use of numbers within its narratives and structures often aligns with these ancient principles. This suggests either a universal language, that numbers inherently carry these symbolic meanings, imprinted into the fabric of creation and intuitively recognized by various cultures, including those from which the Bible emerged. Shared ancient wisdom, that the biblical writers, living within ancient contexts, were aware of and intentionally employed commonly understood numerical symbolism to convey deeper truths. Here's how we can apply these archetypes. Complementary interpretation: the Pythagorean meanings act as a complementary lens. For example, when we see 7 in the Bible, its primary meaning is divine perfection and completion. The Pythagorean heptad, reinforcing spiritual attainment, merely deepens this understanding, showing how a universal principle aligns with a divine truth. Highlighting consistency: observing how numbers like 3, 4, 7, 10, or 40 consistently appear in biblical narratives, example 3 days for resurrection, 40 days for testing, reinforces the idea of an underlying, consistent divine pattern, which can be further illuminated by their archetypal meanings. Connecting the micro and macro: the small numbers, 110, are the building blocks. Larger numbers often derive their meaning from their factors or the sum of their digits, reduction. For example, the number 12, divine government, can be understood as the product of 3, divine completion, and 4, earthly stability, signifying divine authority established on earth. Unveiling subtlety: sometimes, a number's significance in a biblical passage might not be immediately obvious. By considering its Pythagorean archetype, we can ponder why that specific number might have been chosen, looking for subtle thematic links. For example, why 153 fish? The sum to 9, completion, hints at the perfect gathering of the elect. This application is not about forcing external meaning onto the text but about recognizing the depth and precision of the divine author. It allows us to appreciate the intricate layers of design that speak to both the rational mind and the intuitive spirit. 2.4 The Dangers of Misinterpretation: avoiding superstition. While exploring the symbolic language of numbers is enriching, it is crucial to approach this field with discernment and humility. The line between genuine insight and speculative superstition can be easily blurred. Common pitfalls to avoid: fortune-telling and prediction. Biblical numerology is not a tool for predicting future events, winning lotteries, or determining personal destiny in a fatalistic sense. Its purpose is to understand God's character and past actions, not to manipulate the future. Forcing connections: avoid bending interpretations to fit a desired numerical outcome. Genuine numerical patterns in the Bible are inherent and often astonishing. They do not require elaborate or convoluted calculations to surface. Replacing sound theology: numerical insights should always complement, not contradict, the clear and explicit teachings of Scripture. The plain meaning of the text always takes precedence. Numerology is a supporting layer, not the foundation of doctrine. Exaggerated claims: be wary of sensational claims or exclusive, secret knowledge that implies God's truth is only accessible through complex numerical codes. God's primary revelation is accessible to all through His written word and His Spirit. Lack of context: always consider the historical, cultural, and literary context of a biblical passage. A number's significance might be tied to an ancient custom, a specific measurement, or a literary device. Maintaining a balanced approach. Humility. Recognize that our understanding is always partial. There are mysteries beyond our full comprehension. Discernment. Pray for wisdom and spiritual insight to distinguish between genuine patterns and mere coincidence or speculative theories. Scriptural authority. Always return to the clear teaching of the Bible as your ultimate authority. Numbers illuminate, they do not dictate. Focus on God. The goal of this study is to magnify the Creator, not the numbers themselves. Every pattern, every connection, should ultimately point back to the glory, wisdom, and love of God. By adhering to these principles, we can safely and fruitfully explore the fascinating world of sacred numbers, unlocking deeper appreciation for the divine order embedded within the Bible and the universe it describes. Let's move on to Chapter 3 of your ebook, The Cipher of Creation, Unveiling Divine Numbers in the Bible, Torah, and Beyond, focusing on Aleph-Bet and Gematria, the living letters of Hebrew. This chapter is crucial for understanding the profound numerical connections within the biblical text, especially the Torah. Chapter 3, Aleph-Bet and Gematria, the living letters of Hebrew. If Pythagorean numerology offers a universal philosophical framework for understanding number archetypes, then Hebrew gematria provides the direct, explicit, and uniquely profound numerical dimension within the biblical text itself. This ancient system is far more than a linguistic curiosity. It is believed to be a key woven into the very fabric of creation, where letters are not merely symbols for sounds but carry inherent numerical and mystical values. For Jewish mystics and scholars, particularly within the tradition of Kabbalah, the Hebrew language is considered a divine language, the very tongue through which God created the universe. Each letter of the Aleph-Bet, the Hebrew alphabet, is seen as a building block of creation, imbued with spiritual power and specific numerical significance. 3.1 The Divine Blueprint, Hebrew letters as creation's building blocks. The Hebrew language is unique among ancient tongues in its deep reverence for its letters. Unlike English, where letters are largely arbitrary symbols, in Hebrew tradition, each letter of the 22-letter alphabet is a sound, its phonetic value, as in any alphabet. A simple picture. Most ancient Hebrew letters began as pictograms. Example: Aleph was an ox head, Bet was a house, Gimel a camel's neck. These original pictograms hint at deeper conceptual meanings. A number. Each letter holds a specific numerical value. This is the foundation of gematria. A concept. Beyond its picture and number, each letter is associated with specific spiritual concepts, attributes of God, or pathways to wisdom. For example, Aleph represents God's unity, strength, and leadership. Bet represents a house, dwelling, or creation, as it's the first letter of Bereshit, in the beginning. This multilayered nature leads to the belief that the Hebrew letters are not merely tools for communication but the very divine blueprint through which God spoke the cosmos into existence. When God said, "Let there be light," Genesis 1:3, it was understood that the very letters forming those Hebrew words contained the creative power. This perspective elevates the study of Hebrew letters beyond mere linguistics into a spiritual discipline. Understanding the numerical values of these letters allows us to uncover hidden connections, reinforce thematic messages, and gain a profound appreciation for the precision of the biblical text.